Everyone's gonna live today.
Mm-hmm. Let's turn that on. Wait, I need to go to my feed. We're now building in buffer time, people, because these live videos take a time to build up. So, changing to public. So now comments are active.
Setting the timer.
Well, we started when we actually thought. So we're giving we're now doing like 5 minutes ish buffer time because it takes a while for people to figure out that this is actually on. It takes us a while to figure out that it's actually on.
Yes.
Which means we do little interlude things like, what are we wearing today?
So today is once again the limited release Joggers at Werner shirts. I don't think they're available anymore.
But yeah, we got a bunch of these. Hello, Mai. Welcome to the stream. But we have a bunch of these Joggers at Werner shirts, and we love them. And since we're talking about neighbors, then I just figured we should wear a shirt with as many characters on it as possible.
Especially Father Bernie.
Oh, yes. There are Father... And he's off in a corner. He's over here.
Hey, Father Bernie.
Yeah. And then... don't know who else is watching yet.
Currently, probably just mine.
Yes. Which is okay. It's a Saturday night. So maybe people have figured out plans that are exciting and wonderful and yet do not involve leaving your homes.
Oh, Lumina. Hi, Lumina.
Oh, okay, cool. So, and then, welcome to the stream.
And since we'll be talking about neighbors, we thought the best background would be Suburbia.
Suburbia, which is a game all about building communities and figuring out who will get their hands on the homeowners association. So,
Lumina,
hello, Lumina. Yeah, so this is our little web show of sorts. It is oh my gosh, I haven't even prepped the opening.
But we're gonna
intro. But that's like when we formally start. So we're just giving the stream a bit more time to gather people, and now we have all 3 of you, which is amazing. Not that we expect to get too many people. That's fine. We love you anyway. But this is this is cool. We're starting out. And then today's topic is weird, but it's good for a minimal prep. We just finished an RPG session with friends.
Yes.
So we did not spend the usual time to prepare, which is dinner. So this is even less preparation than normal. But we are decent extemporaneous speakers who are able to ramble for at least 30 minutes.
And in many ways, I guess it's been a lot of last-minute adjustment. Our game session had to shift. You had to have a sudden trip to try to contact your provider and stuff like that. So today has been a adjust, pivot, adjust type of day.
Which is how it is, life in quarantine. But we are generally excited about today. So, I think we're like 5 minutes in. Should we just start? Are we starting officially? Okay.
I guess we can. Timer has started. And this is Toby.
And this is Rocky.
And if it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride, our little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
This is completely unscripted and not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us as we talk about everything and anything random live.
And if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for supporting our little tiny channel, and thank you so much for spending 30 minutes with us. So yes, as stated, we try to keep each episode within 30 minutes because we know everyone has stuff to do. And if we're lucky, our little tube guy here will activate once we have 10 viewers.
On Facebook anyway, because I can't tell who's watching real time on YouTube. So,
and it's our little way of also tracking if we are actually reaching people.
Gamification at work. I'm a little off put because the camera is a little to the left and then the screen's there. And there's a tendency to look at the screen, especially if I'm checking comments. But
we could adjust it.
Every time we adjust, it's a pain. It's a pain. Okay, so we have alignment And it really is facing a little. Okay, now it's like
There.
it's only way I can stay in
No,
frame.
it's not. See, you're in frame.
Yeah, but I'm still not looking at the camera. That's the problem. Welcome to real time adjustment. So we're talking about neighbors.
Neighbors.
This is a it's shift. Oh, that was it. I was like disrupted. Okay, sorry. I'm looking at ourselves in the past by watching the Facebook stream also.
So for those who are here for the first time, we collate recommended suggestions and topics from other
Are they
people.
really recommended? They're just suggestions.
And
So
we randomly choose one of them to be the topic we'll talk about.
I officially use a random number generator.
Mhm.
And yes, we ended up with neighbors. And when this topic came in, I actually first clarified with the person. This is Bunny, my dear friend Bunny. What the heck do you mean? Are you talking about the Australian soap opera or like neighbors? And she was like, yeah, she's interested in our thoughts on like the community experience in condos. And I said, I have no idea who our neighbors are. Toby and I have been living together pretty much since we got together. So that's been over 10 years.
Mhm.
We've lived in
More than a decade.
we've lived in two locations together. Over the course of both locations, we have been very consistent in not getting to know our neighbors. We have encounters. We have random moments with some of our neighbors.
Some of them horror stories.
Yes, but for the most part, I have no idea who we live with. We don't even know who we share the floor with. We don't know who lives in the door across from ours. But in my defense, I was thinking about it when we got this topic. I think about it all day. Like, have I ever really known our neighbors? Even growing up, like parents may mention the name of the family who would live next to us, but it's not like we had direct interactions on a regular basis. We were not that kind of a family. How about you, Toby?
My family was that kind of a family. Back when I was with my parents, we practically knew everyone in our block, and we practically knew the people in the other blocks. We pretty much laid out tables on New Year, so everyone who lived nearby could join us, and we would all be drinking and eating till the morning came.
I cannot imagine this. I have no major social interaction with people who are not part of my family.
During my childhood, I thought that was because I lived in a village.
Okay.
And others didn't. But then I realized even that wasn't true. Because for many people who are still living in subdivisions and villages, they still don't know their neighbors. So we just really happened to be a very social family back then.
I grew up in a house with walls that reached the second floor of a building. So it was really imposing gates. It looks like I don't know, it was the land of Oz, and you had to wait for someone to permit you entry. So I do not have experience of playing in the street and that sort of thing, because we do not trust people who are not part of the family. We are super, super careful people. Oh, Pico's over on YouTube. Hi, Pico.
Hey, Pico.
Okay, so yeah, so I'm just really saying, being non-sociable is built into my family structure, and I live true to the lessons of my family until today.
So moving beyond when we used to live in our parents' homes, once we moved out, in your case,
Are we back? Are we back?
did we lose
Hello?
the connection? Oh no.
Uh,
Oh no.
net hiccup. We're gonna see if we reconnect. Are we reconnecting? Are we reconnecting?
I don't see it on the actual stream yet.
There's normally a delay.
There!
Okay,
I think it worked. Okay.
Okay, we're
So-
back.
Yeah. So back in San Juan, I lived in this compound wherein it was a single parking lot and a lot of little homes, and each home was its own family. And since it was my first time
Thank
to
you
move
for
out,
this, Pico. You're back again.
since it was my first time out, I made it a point to know my neighbors
Wow, good for you.
because I was afraid of if anything happened to me, then there would be someone whom my parents would call.
Okay.
Or if, let's say, I made the mistake of leaving something on, and I left the house, then I could call them to check if I did.
That's quite prudent.
So that's sort of a situation. At that point in time, I knew them enough that they would invite us over during birthdays of their kids. But yeah, that was a rare time when neighbors were awesome.
I can barely, I've barely had family interactions beyond the first degree. So, wow, attending birthdays of neighbors' kids. I cannot imagine.
And then, since now that we're done with the happy stories, let's start moving towards the horror stories.
We have a caption for that. So, horror stories. I think my only interesting horror stories are more with you. Well, apart from the fact that I once got burgled, but that resulted in me moving away, changing neighbors entirely. But horror stories. Where do you want to start with horror stories?
So there was that time we lived in a place that had windows facing the other unit.
We've only lived in 2 places, so figure it out.
And that other unit had I think it was a transient. It wasn't someone who was.
It was not consistent because we had different neighbors in that that window across the way.
And that specific neighbor was a horror story because he was very confident with his body and everything he would like to do with his body.
Yeah.
Even if he knew we were home.
I mean, like, okay, then it's really like there's only the air gap in the building for ventilation.
And
right?
despite the fact that they never had curtains.
They never had curtains. We had curtains, and we kind of like try to stay within the curtains. But then if our lights were on, you could clearly tell we're home. And he would try to put on a show, I guess you could say. We're trying to keep this PG-13 here.
He kept peeking to see if we were paying him attention, but really for us it was
oh my god,
we should have kept the lights off. We should have not let him know we're home. So there was that neighbor.
Yes, exactly, Maya. I will not flash your comment on the screen. So, so Pico asks over on YouTube, do you accept invitations from neighbors or maybe some kind of hesitation? No interactions whatsoever with our neighbors here. We do not know who they are. I know that the person nearby tends to open the door when they cook fish, and it annoys me the heck. There's a neighbor down the road, down the way, a few doors down, who has left his keys on his door at least twice, and we have either rung the doorbell to tell him about his keys or told the guard so that the guard will tell them about their keys.
Yes. We've had neighbors who, despite the building being no smoking, have smoked in the unit, and when they flick their cigarette, it flies back into our windows.
So we told security.
Because those were scary moments of coming home to smell smoke and finding a cigarette that died out on your floor. And
you know what? That's
given our house with all our stuff, with
all of our flammable things.
Exactly. We couldn't allow that to just keep going. We thankfully have not suffered the video of neighbors.
Yeah,
which
that's
many
true.
friends suffer.
More often than not, I'm worried that we are the noisy neighbors because when we have all night game nights or RPGs, and then people like laugh and guffaw really a lot, or when the game has a horror element and you have a player screaming because they really felt the moment, then we're like, oh crap, will people call on us and report us? But it's never happened.
And not just that, we've also noticed that there have been instances we don't hear anything. But when we're in the corridor, that's when we realize, oh my god, that neighbor's loud and this and that. But when we're in the units, we don't hear anything.
So the corridor is a catch-all for all noise, but then it doesn't get into other units.
Interestingly,
in the condos we've lived in. So that's a small consolation. Yeah, that the noise isn't bleeding over that much.
What else? We've had very vibrational neighbors.
That's true.
We feel the unit shaking and we're like, is that an earthquake or is that okay? I think that's someone
having a good time.
Yeah.
I worry when I exercise at home, especially this quarantine that I've been doing a lot of home exercises, that if I'm jumping and stuff, do the people below hear me? I mean, like, I've had family where the neighbor above them in their unit would clearly do weights and was the kind of guy who drops his weights. Yes. That's annoying. So, but
vacuum, not so much. And again, that's the same thing. I'd like to think many of our neighbors have vacuums and stuff.
Yeah.
But we don't really hear them. So far, the only thing we've really heard
Carlo.
Has been a very loud power machine, like a drill.
Yeah, and I'm like, I have a food processor when I make cauliflower or broccoli rice, and that's super loud. And every time I use it, I'm like, I don't like using it at night. I only use it in the day because I'm always worried I'm going to make noise. My vacuum, I don't think it's loud enough.
Hey, you're in
So, yes. David, of course, reacts to vibrational. Yes, vibrational.
vibrational.
Okay.
We can demonstrate that next time you get a visit. So,
Moving on. How
So-
about good, interesting encounters? So,
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, it's not like we don't know anyone in the building.
there are some neighbors, not close by definition of neighbors,
We're
but
not on the same floor.
building mates whom we have met. Um, okay, the first great story is always the friend we met who turned out to be eventually connected to the next friend we met.
Yeah, no. And then let's be a little more plainer here. We're talking about location based apps here.
Yeah.
So there are people that we learned. Oh, they're saying it's 10. It hit 10 for a moment, but it's not 10 right now.
Yeah, it's not that not long enough to be noticed. I'm sorry.
Okay, so but there was the quirk of so we meet we meet people on location apps hoping to find people to have fun with. Haha, in all sense of the term. But mainly to find people to play board games with in the area, in all honesty. And then there was one that we found out to be turned out to be in the building. So we met him, we played games for a night, and that was fun. And then there was someone else in the area that we met, invited him over, played games, and then he was like, "Can I invite my new boyfriend?"
Mhm.
And like, I was first kind of off put, like it's
Yes.
our home. I don't like it.
Why
If
is someone inviting someone else?
he's a new guest and he's inviting another guest already, and that's like it felt kind of rude. Like we're not bringing people into your
Mhm.
space. But it turned out his new boyfriend was the first neighbor that we had invited
So it
over.
was a small world moment of
Yes.
suddenly going, hey,
So
Oh!
you're together now. Okay, and we played. We got
Mhm.
to play a few more games. Sometimes we still see the neighbor downstairs.
Yeah.
We haven't gamed in a while.
and,
'Cause busy
and
schedule.
through that friend, we met other friends in the building. Because
Yes.
he has friends he drinks with in the building.
Yeah, and so we officially know people in two different residences or units in this building.
Yes.
Ironically, have not gamed with we haven't gamed with either in a long
Yeah.
time.
And they're both more computer than
yeah.
board
They're-
game,
I mean, to be
admittedly.
fair, tabletop is not their thing.
Mhm.
But then we say hi a lot and stuff. So that's about it.
Carlos says fire drills help in seeing your neighbors.
We have not participated in fire drills.
Yeah, and actually, I don't think the fire drills in this building have resulted with non-staff. I mean, I remember there was that one time there was a fire drill, and I stepped out, and all I saw were people who work in the building.
Yeah, so it seems like people kind of get away with not participating in this particular condo. We are going to burn when there is a fire, and we're not going to know what's going to happen. So I guess this can help us segue to talking about ideal neighbors. We didn't know how else to parse this topic. So what are ideals for neighbors?
Well, traditionally, an ideal neighbor would be the neighbor who shows up and gives you a welcome gift when you arrive.
How is this
I mean,
ideal?
yeah,
I don't like people showing up
that's
in
what-
my space.
Exactly.
I'm
But that's what
I'm not,
popular
no.
media pushes as the ideal neighbor.
That's so American suburban thing.
or
Uh,
like if you're doing
with a
something,
welcome casserole or
they'll come
gelatin.
over and knock and hi, we have extra milk or something.
Can I borrow sugar? None of these things have happened to us. And I do not want these things to happen. So my ideal neighbor does not arrive unexpectedly. But my ideal neighbor would be into board games and would be helping us play games. This is a we didn't get to talk about this in growing up here in gaming and COVID,
Mhm.
but we have the new irony, and I'll move this in a bit. The new irony of we have new games. One is a gift. Oops. One is a gift. One is something we've been looking for a while. They're the size of calling card boxes. They require 3 players minimum. So even in quarantine, we cannot play these games because they require 3 players. Toby got a new party game. Yes, party game. Minimum 4 players. Why he bought a new party game in quarantine? I don't know. So yes, the ideal neighbor would be someone we can game with on a regular basis.
I would add the ideal neighbor would be someone you can trust for emergencies. but also knows you don't really want them over unless it's emergency.
Yeah, like if when we still had a pet, like it would be nice to have a neighbor you could trust to leave the pet with,
Mhm.
to be pet sitter for a while, things
Or
like
vice
that.
versa. Like now that we don't have pets, if we had a neighbor who had a pet, and sometimes we could,
Mitch, I also wish you were a neighbor. I wish all of our gaming group
which I
who
think,
lived nearby.
which I think is what the ideal neighbor becomes, which is close friends of yours who love you the same things you do, but at the same time have their own lives.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
if a friend and I say this with all the love in the world, but because if a friend doesn't seem to do anything but want to just hang out with you, it can also get tiring.
Yeah, you may need a bit more diversity in your life.
And it's not that you don't like to spend time with that friend. It's just that we were friends, but when we're home, we want our home time.
Okay, and I'll highlight a few things. So Pico over on YouTube asked, "What about condo homeowner events? Why or you typically keep your circles to yourself?"
The Valentine's one.
Okay, wait. In general, we do not have many events. I think there's the Halloween event every year, which we never get to participate in because we are normally out of the house for a game night, a game day on the afternoon that the event happens. There was one event we attended, the condo through a Valentine's Day
Yes,
dinner thing
yes.
in the garden, and it was interesting.
It's quaint.
We didn't have to pay anything. We just had to show up. There was like finger food.
Mm-hmm.
In the time I could eat carbs,
There
I
were-
could
there were-
eat stuff.
There was a band, a singer.
There was a show
Performer.
band
Yeah, show band.
performing something, doing cover songs, and like, okay, there's music. We took a picture.
And then there was a gift basket.
Was there? I don't remember the gift
It
basket.
was the soap thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, one of those weird products. We get a lot of like generic products in this. If you live in a Robinsons related property, do you also get a lot of sample goods like the new Great Taste
Yeah.
flavors? We got them and things.
So Adrian says,
It took them 10 years to even acknowledge the neighbor who lives in the unit across from me.
yes, that's the thing.
We've hit our 10 years and we still don't know the neighbors nearby. But we reset the clock when we moved to BGC.
And I know this is in contrast to a lot of other friends who are like super close with their neighbors, and they're like all having drinking parties and hanging out and yelling at each other. Oh, you're home! And
I'm not built this way. I am not. I'm so sorry. Pico also says, or maybe Obar. Yes, a good neighbor would be someone who could drive to Obar. And he's just up. I have.
it's less than that.
To be fair, we have brought neighbors,
Yes.
the aforementioned neighbors in the building to Omar. So that was like cool. I'm glad,
Mhm.
but not often. Like we brought them like once or twice.
Yes.
And I
so
wasn't
far.
even there
Yeah,
for some of them.
Yes, you were abroad at that time.
Yeah. So that's a thing.
How about family as neighbors? What do you think about that? Because there are people who live in compounds.
I have lived in a compound. I grew up in a compound with a lot of my family together. It's like all my aunts and stuff, and we were all like in this big home. And it was okay because it was great as kids because then I would have a lot of playtime with my cousins.
Mhm.
But then depending on your family situation, it's not great for everyone. I know people who are not close to their extended family, so that can get weird. So I don't know. I haven't lived with my parents, with my family in a long time. But I will admit I am glad that they live in BGC now,
Mhm.
so that I am able to visit regularly. That's a good amount of distance, so I can still walk over and say hello.
I was about to comment on Noel's comment, but Carla sensed it and told me to stop. So I will not say anything about Noel's comment.
I want to. Yeah, I'm not going to flash it on screen, but we will flash Carlos saying "Stop, Toby." So that's great. If you run out of rice, Mitch, I'm on keto. There is no rice in this house.
And I haven't had rice. Oh my god.
Yeah, Toby only gets rice if it comes with the meal, and we can't get rid of
I haven't
it. So
had rice in a while.
there is literally no rice in this house.
Oh.
Toby is the only one who brings in carbs.
Yes.
And then Urim, of course, Urim would like to be neighbors.
Uh-huh.
That would be great. Did we move somewhere? Like there's more of a gap now on Toby's left. What's
I
going
think it's
on?
still the camera shakes when you found on the table.
Yeah, that's still like
because
okay.
the table's still not like super secure.
Yeah. Mitch, I run out of ulam. I could help to some degree. But our stuff is very keto
Mhm.
related, which means it could be too high fat or too high protein in the short term if you're not ready. And then I will have to highlight, Lord, there's no more rice. That's
we
so random.
we have had a neighbor who once did contact us,
Which one's this?
claiming that they were offering extra eggs.
Oh, I don't remember that. I vaguely
Yeah.
remember, but
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
remember.
I don't remember the specifics either, but I
What
remember
the
there
hell
was that.
this extra eggs.
But he says he has eggs and he can bring them over. But I think he was just thirsty.
No, wait, no. This was upstairs neighbor.
Was it?
Yes, it was upstairs couple.
No, that was when we needed sugar.
No, but they had eggs also because you were baking or something. I don't know. I think that was it. Something like that. Mitch, be careful. You really want to be keto because I'm serious. I am about keto, and I judge keto adjacency.
And just to address Brian's comment,
Hi,
yes,
welcome, and yes, Jaja shirts.
I'm sorry, but I don't think they're available anymore. They used to be available online. You could always try to reach out to Carver. He's very active in social media.
Mitch is stressing the fact that we've hit 10 again.
Yes, we have it.
Oh, more floppy now. Earlier was quite upright. Now just floppy. Okay. Wow. What else? Toby is doing the dance. Toby's dream is to do the tube dance.
My dream is to dress up as this one time in a Halloween party.
People are asking, did we accept the neighbor's offered ulam? I don't think we've had a neighbor offer full on ulam,
Mhm.
just raw ingredients. In this case, eggs. That he had extra eggs.
Yes.
So that's I guess that's a thing that happens.
Mhm. And we have been nice to some other neighbors, like Left Keys, as mentioned earlier, or
How much was this though?
oh, this was purchased in the States.
Yeah, he ordered it overseas.
So yeah, we'll try to find the link and I'll
Post
share
the
with
link
you.
in the description
Yeah.
somehow
But
later.
there, it's
Wacky waving, unflammable tube, and it needs a 9-volt battery
Yeah.
for those who are interested.
This was something that back when I was still working in an office setting,
I love Noel's appreciation.
a group
in
of
this.
us
It's not
bought
like
it
just
so
stop
we
it,
could like
Toby,
have a
stop it.
wave.
Okay. And David says Ed also wants to dress up like this.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
Ed, the two of us can do it. We can do it one time. We
This
can
is
do
a
it for-
revelation about Ed.
We
Do I
can do
judge
it.
Ed now?
We can do it for Obar. Haha. And then Rocky and David will just have to live with it while we're both.
Toby has already been doing tube-man dances before a costume. Wow, I'm not gonna flash Noel's comment. I see that.
I see your comment, Noel, and I believe there is one, but I will leave it at that. So we're down to 5 minutes.
Wow. Okay, we are running out of things to say about neighbors.
I guess the last thing would be, what about neighbors with pets?
Okay.
How much of it would be positive? How much of it would be negative?
Caveat: currently, we live in a pet-free building.
Mhm.
Although we are aware of people in the building who have pets against building regulations, and we will not name names because number one, we don't know who they are. Number two, I guess it's none of our business. But I mean, I'm not against pets as long as they can discipline their pets, which
Yes.
means that if you have a dog and you walk your dog, pick up after your dog.
Mhm.
And at night, I shouldn't have to deal with a barking dog.
Mhm.
So please be careful about that. Things like that. And then what else? I don't know. I mean, I'm not too picky on it. And then cats. You can only control cats so much. I mean, like if cats get in heat, then it would create some noisy situations at night. I mean, I've lived through some of those, but I wouldn't dissuade a neighbor from having their cats. So I don't know.
And back when we used to live in Cubao, we had times wherein people, although they weren't precisely neighbors, but people left their pets with us to watch over, to care for them. And that was nice. That was
You just say they weren't exactly neighbors, or did you just say they weren't exactly people?
they weren't exactly neighbors. They were from a different building. But it was nice being able to have, pets to look over.
Isn't it so funny that Toby is now like, oh, it was nice to have pets over. Toby was not a pet person, especially not a dog person. So that
That's
was
true.
a thing. Could be a topic in the future. If you want it as a topic, please suggest it.
I don't get Pico's statement.
They're not Roxy Andrews. I'm. It's probably connected to something.
Pets, neighbors, not
I
people.
don't know. Are they?
Not people.
Are they here to make it clear? So I'm not gonna finish the lyrics beyond that. So anything is possible. We may have just not paid attention soon enough.
So I guess since we're nearing the end of our 30 minutes, I'm sure a lot of you are new viewers. You weren't in the earlier ones. So this is just a quick recap of what the show is about.
Oh, sure.
The show is really all about us talking about anything we want, whatever we want. But many people have started giving suggestions. So we've been choosing randomly from that list to make our topics.
You can always
send more.
We are still learning how to navigate
You can always
a mirror
send
image.
more questions or suggestions to us, and if yours gets chosen, it becomes the topic. This show also is meant to be very informal. It's meant to be this casual. We don't exactly plan to go full production value with it or anything.
But having these because of Restream is great because I can do on-screen captions, which makes me look super awesome.
And ultimately, we just want to celebrate stuff we love or talk about stuff that we want to talk about because ultimately, this is Baduy Pride. It is all about us sharing our lives and our thoughts and our views and our opinions with everyone else.
Oh, okay. Then points out that not naming names Rocky Andrew quote. But then Noel also points out left at the bus stop. All these someone has suggested drag race tropes as a topic. I don't know if we're going to ever get around to it, but through sheer probability, we will get there. So I think we have about 30 topics in the hopper right now, and we're always welcome to more. And
I will warn that
Yes.
now that we are consistently hitting above 10,
oh wow,
this might have to upgrade.
Toby is setting new standards, people. Like we need a higher view count.
If in the future episodes we're always in the 10 or higher range, then this will now only start dancing on 20.
Much to my relief, because it is loud when it is on. It's quite loud, and the battery is already kind of low at this point. It can be louder. It's a pain.
I'm more worried that it might dive into the glass of water.
Jed says we get lapel mics. We're not yet ready to spend on this show.
Maybe when we start earning, we can start
Yeah, if this
spending.
generates income somehow, I don't know, sponsorship from like Suburbia and other games, then that could be something.
Mhm.
And then and while we like have a pocket of time before we're supposed to close, so the sweet spot right now is that 9 o'clock is a good time for us.
Yes.
It's like right after we finish dinner. It's right after we finish most of our RPG sessions or games. So that works out. And then I think people aren't quite asleep yet. And then you mostly are done with work.
Mhm.
So then we get to talk a bit. So that's like a sweet time. We don't have a schedule yet. We announce in the afternoon if we're gonna stream in the evening. But
Mhm.
thus far, we've been doing it every night since we started, because it's a lot of fun.
Yes.
I am honestly enjoying this experience. I enjoy rambling with Toby for 30 minutes, and proving that we consistently ramble for 30 minutes quite well.
And it's
then,
funny how time just passes. You don't realize it's been 30 minutes.
depending on the top. Wow, that alarm!
Because right now, it has been 30 minutes.
The only other thing that we also have been doing is that, which was something we were doing even before, is that we would live stream us playing board games. It's not a show; it's just leaving the camera on, and
So
then if
people
you want to
can
talk,
join in and say
It's cool.
hi whenever they want.
and then like going back and forth on that, we're not like committed to it being Baduy Pride content yet. Maybe if there's more people viewing and a greater demand for it, I don't
Mhm.
think there's a demand for it yet. But
Yes.
then, super enjoying opening group chats with friends so that they can participate in it. Last notes before we close. Jed stresses cheap ones are 1.5. That's still money.
We'll think about it. Priot, hello.
Soundproofing with egg cartons.
You missed the show. We don't care about the neighbors. And then Paula says, love listening to you guys on the background. Thank you so much.
Thank you for turning us into background entertainment.
And listening is fine.
yeah, because we're not doing anything.
we're
so
not
much.
we're not going to be
Except for Toby's little two guy.
well, yeah. Two guy and I will be dancing every now and then.
I am honored to be qualified as background content because
It means
it's
worth
right
the
up there with
effort.
reality TV. Like we watch a lot of reality TV as background, and then Budetama. How did you spot Budetama? Where? I know he's somewhere there, but that's amazing. Tracy says hi. Hi, Tracy.
Hey!
Hi, Luke. Although you should be asleep.
So we have now gone beyond. So we have to close.
Yes.
It's been 30 minutes and we had a lot of fun. We hope you will join us next time.
So again, reminders that if you have suggestions for topics, then you could submit this Google form. The easier link is Baduy Pride Ideas, although it's a long bitly. I know. I should have thought about that.
We, however, still reserve the right to ignore topics that we'd rather not talk about on live streams.
Or if they're too broad, like one said, geeky things, like everything we talk about can be geeky. You can follow us on social, so that's all Toby No Shade, and then I'm RG Suniko on Twitter and Instagram, everywhere else. So it unlocks the keys to the kingdom, ladies and gentlemen, if you search for RG Suniko. There is a blog for this at baduypride.com where we reshare links to the YouTube version of this
And,
because it's easier to
and it
embed.
allows you to get a glimpse of our lives for the decade or so amount of time.
Yeah, that started about 2011, 2012. It's a very colorful blog.
We didn't post as frequently, but that's why we do this now.
Yeah, and then it's a lot of ups and downs at that site. So great place to mine for question content. Yeah, and I think that covers what you want to say. So finishing, scripting. So yes, be sure to subscribe for notifications, whether on Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. Once again, I'm Rocky.
And I'm Toby.
And this is
Baduy
Baduy
Pride.
Pride. Now, we notice when we end this, we're always stuck with an awkward screen on Facebook. So I don't know. So should we